All right, Warriors. Coach JB here, your top health and mindset coach in the world. Remember, what you believe in your heart, you think in your mind, will eventually become your words and become your reality. I'm the coach who tells you not to believe by a word I say. Remember, we give you a fish, you'll eat for a day. We give you a fishing pole, you'll eat for a lifetime. If we teach you how to farm, you're going to feed a nation. And I'm really, really excited. This is going to be a standing thing we're going to be doing every single Wednesday. We're going to be bringing our dear friend Cryptocito. Now, what I want to share with you about this gentleman, I'm very honored to have him on. He's traveled 30 different countries, building cryptocurrency communities. And the beautiful thing about it, I was thinking about this as we were having a pre-conversation, is he really understands the infrastructure and the true nature of what blockchain and crypto is doing for our community. And as he spoke about it, I thought about what we're working to create here at the Warrior Academy. It's about inclusiveness, helping people understand the real world fundamentals, right? And helping people grow together. Now, I have an expert knowledge around the banking system, 12 years in banking, executive banker, went to executive banking school. Now, he, on the other side, as he explains it, has the knowledge around crypto. And so bringing him on board helps us bridge that gap so we can have a deep understanding. Now, remember, Warriors, we're going to have a deep conversation with them, but there's a lot of things happening right now. For example, I was just watching the Federal Reserve hearing. They're talking about Bitcoin. So a lot of you have been saying, Warriors, am I too late? Am I too late? I'm like, Warriors, you are so early. Think about this. On the YouTube channel, we have about 35,000 people subscribed, a couple thousand watching. World Economic Forum, you have a couple thousand people watching those videos. The hearing, it's a big hearing for our society. There's about 700 people watching that. There's 7 billion people in the world. So we are a small percentage of the population, Warriors. So you're very early right now, but there's some things we want to talk about with Cryptocito. Number one, some of his favorite projects, talk about the crypto space, the infrastructure. And then also I'm going to ask him a few questions around where does he think we're heading? Like, where does he think we're heading? There's a lot of things going on within the crypto space because you got to be careful as well, Warriors, because a lot of you guys are coming here just to make quick money, but that's not what this is about. This is about changing the world. We're moving from industrial to technical. We're moving from the old archaic banking system into the quantum financial system. So like I say, Warriors, you can't go into this new system with a beeper on. You got to take your fanny pack and your beeper off and let's have some fun with it. All right, Warriors. So I'm going to kick it over to Cryptocito. Down below, you're going to see his YouTube channel. Before you do anything, make sure you go like, subscribe, comment. His content is fire. So please go over there and check out his YouTube channel. He's going to be on every single week here with the Warrior Academy. So Cryptocito, if you can just give a quick introduction of yourself, we're just going to kick it off with a casual conversation.
Yeah, man, and thank you so much for having me. It's a real pleasure and a real honor. I think on a philosophical standpoint, we have a lot of things and ideologies in common. So I really love being part of that. And I think you said a lot of great things in the intro. My idea is basically that in the short term, crypto can make a lot of people crazy rich, while in the long term, we're actually funding the Web3. We're building the Web3, a decentralized version of the current internet, which is kind of broken, right? It's dominated by just a few players. And yeah, I think we're on a great journey here with kind of educating people and connecting people. And we're all still learning, right? I mean, even though I'm now around 4 years in the crypto industry, I'm still learning a lot of stuff every single day. And that industry never sleeps. Bitcoin never sleeps. Crypto, the blockchain never sleeps, right? It's 24/7. Every single day there's something huge happening. Yesterday we had the Tether case, which was now closed on official regulatory level, right? Another day you have Elon Musk tweeting about Dogecoin. So there's always something huge happening and something exciting. And yeah, I think that's kind of what really captured my interest in that industry, because from my kind of nature, I'm also very enthusiastic about many different things. Like you said, I love traveling. I've been in China in 2018, which is where I really dig deep into the crypto industry and got into the kind of like behind the curtain, how everything works, how do the network effects kick in, how is the funding going for crypto projects, how is that all kind of like plugging together. So that was kind of like where I really understood crypto on the fundamental layer, and also how much is actually behind there that goes way beyond just the price that you see on coin market cap, right? Because that's just one tiny thing. That's just the tip of the iceberg. But like you said in the intro, there's so much going on behind the scenes. The new internet that we're building actually having an impact, empowering the people, right? Shifting not just wealth, but actual power and control. And I think that's what I'm really about in this industry. While at the same time, and that's also something I keep saying on my channel, I keep saying on Twitter, I do believe right now, especially for small private investors who didn't grow up with millions of dollars in their banks, right? We have a unique opportunity to get a piece of that cake, right? Which is the current kind of like wealth decentralization, I like to call it, through cryptocurrencies, investing into cryptocurrencies, conducting fundamental analysis, research, what are these projects about, what problems are they trying to solve, and yeah, so that's kind of like my view on the space. And yeah, in the mid of last year, I then decided to just start a channel and just buy a camera, buy a microphone, and start talking. Right, and it's been an amazing journey since then. Made a lot of great contacts, grew my community also, and yeah, I'm really excited to be part of all this. And it's all about the journey, I guess.
Yes. So one thing I want to ask you, so you've been in the crypto space for a long time. So full transparency, I've been in the crypto space for about a year and a half. I was still stuck in the banking paradigm, right? And when I got involved in crypto, I had to really reframe my mind around from an old archaic banking system into a quantum financial system. So you went through the massive bull market in 2017, 2018, and the crash in 2018. So talk to me about that. So what did that look like? Because a lot of people are brand new in the crypto space, so they're in the exciting time right now. We're going to hit euphoria. Tell me some of the things you saw there. Are there any experiences you went through that you would like to share with people? What should people be cautious about? Because we're heading into the same type of bull market, right? And I think it's going to be much bigger just because of the institutional adoption. Elon Musk talking about it, Michael Saylor talking to 10,000 CEOs about Bitcoin. On the banking side, understanding, Wells Fargo has spent $5 million in cryptocurrency platform. You got Bank of America has the most cryptocurrency patents. You got JPM Coin. So a lot of bankers that work at banks don't even know that cryptocurrency is coming to their local bank. And so, what did you see? What were some of your most exciting times during that time? And what are some mistakes you saw people make, and why a lot of people are not in the market anymore?
That's a great question. And my biggest learning is actually don't underestimate how big it can be, but also don't overestimate how big it can be, right? So it's kind of like the line between like finding that sweet spot to get an exit also in terms of investments is very, very, very thin. And this industry is very emotional, right? If you put your money in and you see it's going up by 10-fold, 20-fold, 100-fold, right, which is something that can happen, you tend to become greedy, you tend to become emotional, right? That happened to me. I in 2017, when I started to invest, I made more money than I ever had in my entire life. In 2018, I lost it all, right? So I didn't catch that exit, but to me that was also new. And when I kind of started to learn about all that, the first thing that I did, and it took me actually 6 to 8 months before I put money in, was to really understand, why do we even need Bitcoin in the first place, right? And we need Bitcoin in the first place because our financial system is broken, right? And so it took me really a long time to understand, how does the financial system actually work, right? How do central banks work? What is their role? What are they actually doing? What are they claiming to do, but what are they actually doing? Or what are they supposed to do, right? So those are like fundamental questions. And there's some great books, also the Bitcoin Standard. There's some great series on Netflix, right? Documentaries that really go behind on a financial and monetary policy level, what all this is about and how it basically started. So I was super excited about Bitcoin in 2017, and then when kind of like the retail mania came up by the end of 2017, and then there were suddenly thousands of ICOs and all these coins, the altcoins that came on the market. It overheated pretty rapidly, right? And back then, the only thing that you could do is basically just speculate on the price.
Gotcha.
Now, fast forward to 2021, it's a complete different landscape. We have, like I said, institutions on board. We have something that's called decentralized finance, which enables you to generate cash flow, right? Back then, like I said, we only had the speculative investment thesis. Now we have put your money to work as well, right? We have different kind of roles that you can take in that market. You can become a liquidity provider on Uniswap. You can still speculate on the price. You can get into projects through decentralized launchpads. There's so many cool things that you can do now, and really dig deep into all those decentralized applications that are running on the chain, right? That's why also you're seeing right now that the fees on the Ethereum network are exploding, for example.
Right.
So there's so much more to do. Plus, we're seeing an institutional run that back in 2017, I remember I was sitting in a classroom back then. I was at my university, and I was on my phone, and suddenly there came a message from the Ripple Twitter account saying that they were partnering with American Express. And I was
Wow.
like, Jesus Christ, this is a big company, right?
Yeah.
They're partnering with Ripple. So to me, that was like, oh my God, imagine one day Elon Musk tweets about Bitcoin. That would be so amazing. And now we have 2021, and every second day, Elon Musk tweets about Dogecoin. Today he posted a Dogecoin on the moon emoji, right? He's a full Bitcoiner now.
Yeah.
JP Morgan coin. I remember back then, JP Morgan was saying that Bitcoin is fraud, Bitcoin is a scam, right? Now he has his own coin. I mean,
I was in banking during that time, so we're the opposite. I was in banking during that time when he said it was a scam, and he was buying. They were buying cryptocurrency.
That's amazing, yeah. I mean, how quickly it shifted, and so now in 2020, what was kind of like my main concern or my main question that I had is, how does Bitcoin perform in a crisis, right? How does the market react if everything goes down, if there's global uncertainties, right? And to me, that was clear when kind of the first wave of COVID came in. You saw around the world the lockdowns were starting. And then we had this liquidity crash where everything went down in March 13 of 2020, right? Bitcoin went in a free fall to 3,000 something. Ethereum was double digit, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so what is happening from here? Because in fact, Bitcoin was designed to counter crises, right? It was designed to act as a safe haven asset during such times.
Right.
But it turned out that, well, at least in that case, it did not, right? It crashed with everything else. But then over the year, we figured out that, wow, actually, this was kind of like maybe the last washout of the weak hands. Maybe this was just a liquidity crash, a liquidity crisis where people were panic selling everything. And now we have clear skies, right? And I think that's what we're seeing right now. It has been boiling up throughout 2020. We had kind of this first DeFi summer last year. And this year has been phenomenal in terms of performance, in terms of onboarding of institutions, in terms of funds, right? Large funds are buying Bitcoin. Even the mayor of Miami, right?
Yes.
He's buying Bitcoin with the treasury, offering salaries to be paid in Bitcoin. That is something incredible. And you see news like that coming out every other day. I can't wait for more stuff. We're also seeing a lot of use cases for other crypto projects, and that's kind of what I wanted to allude to, because back in 2017, the Bitcoin community was much more inclusive. And I think now in 2021, we have this tribalism, right? We have Bitcoiners that say Bitcoin only, everything else is a scam, right? Then you have even Ethereum maximalists, right? You have every crypto community now has their kind of fanatic following, and I think that's in fact not healthy, or in fact it's not even helpful for the project itself, because if you just call everything around yourself a scam and BS, right? You're just excluding yourself from opportunities,
right?
And I think that's what I'm about. I think also that's what maybe connects us, because I think you also have a very open mindset. You're always open to hear new stuff, different views, different projects, different ideas, and this space is growing so fast, right? The way I see it is basically we're just building a decentralized web, the Web3, and each crypto project, each coin is a little piece in that giant puzzle, right? Which is the Web3. So those are kind of like my views and my experiences, and it's been amazing.
Yeah, let's talk about Web3, because I share people. I teach people the infrastructure of the banking rails. What is, when you said Web3 to me the last time we talked, I really didn't understand that part, and I understand the QFS system and quantum, but the whole quantum. What is Web3? I'd never heard that before. Can you help the listeners understand what Web3 is?
Yeah, so Web3 is basically the evolution of the internet, And where we're heading right now is to a decentralized peer-to-peer internet, right? The Web3 was basically read only, right? We could only read data and nothing else. The Web2 was basically that you could read and write, right? You could write your own applications and you can publish them. And the third version is now, and that is the peer-to-peer aspect, is that you can read, write, but you can also execute, right?
Wow.
You can run your own applications, and you are basically a part of the entire ecosystem, right? So that is kind of like the way that we're heading to, and this does not only affect finance, right? This affects different industries across the verticals, right? Supply chain, you have like even the streaming industry, the
Yeah.
content creation industry, um, yeah, micropayments. There's so many different use cases that are all being kind of like transformed and disrupted in the digital revolution that we're seeing merged with blockchain technology, right? Or decentralized ledger technology, I would say,
Yeah.
because there's even other technologies that are not blockchains, but that also have a decentralized kind of aspect to it. So I would even say that one step or one layer above blockchain is the term decentralized ledger technology, and I think we're building a DLT based economy, which is called actually the Web3. So
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. When you helped me understand too, it made it even deeper for me too, because the way the banking system runs too, they have to switch. The system has to switch, right? The Swift system was built 50 years ago. It's an old archaic banking system. You know, they already got the ISO 20022, the messaging system that's already up and running. And it's interesting too, like people were, you know, they're like, everything seems like it's happening right now, the decisions. And the way that I explained it is, you know, I run a small business and, you know, it's starting to become a larger company. But we made decisions 3 years ago looking at today, right? Today. And so people don't realize the decisions that are being made. For example, Gary Glenser, who's taken over the SEC, or March 2nd, will hopefully come into the SEC, right? Was a professor at MIT, right? And so these are strategic decisions that have been made based on where we're heading. And so this big narrative and noise. So that's one thing I do want to talk about, because you've got to see it from since 2017 with this narrative. You know, Michael Saylor with all the moving the CEOs into cryptocurrency. You got Elon Musk texting about it or tweeting about it nonstop. You got some of the rappers involved. You got Soldier Boy talking about, and then what's his name? The rock star is saying that he was the godfather of Dogecoin. Gene Simmons. Yeah, Gene Simmons. Yep.
yeah,
Yeah,
right.
and then you had Post Malone has this EFT where you can play beer pong with him. I was just talking to my daughter about that, and so there's a lot of now. Now that's exciting, and people are moving into cryptocurrency. What should somebody look out for as we go into this massive bull run? What should they look out for so they don't get wrecked in the marketplace when it comes back down?
Yeah, I think that's the most important question. And I said this. I published a video a few days ago with some other friends, and in the future I would love to have you on as well, because we're also chatting about these things. And I think one main mistake that people do is they only extract information from either Twitter or from CoinMarketCap, right? So they either look at the prices or they look at what do other people do, but they don't look at actual fundamentals. They don't read white papers. They don't even go down the rabbit hole of opening a website, clicking through all the links, and seeing like who is actually behind there,
Right.
which company is behind there, what is the jurisdiction that they're in, right? Like basic stuff, right?
Mhm.
So if you really go down that rabbit hole and you spend an extra hour to try to figure out how all things work behind the scenes, right? You even try to reach out to the team, right? You can ask them questions. Most of the crypto projects, even the CEOs and founders, they're very, very approachable,
Yeah.
right? And if they're not, that's actually already a red flag, right?
Yes.
If
Yep.
there's anonymous sushi food coin yield farming founders, right, that nobody even knows who they are, that's kind of like a red flag already, right?
Right.
So there's a lot of simple ways and low-hanging fruits on how you can first reassure that this is not a scam, but second also evaluate, is that something that I want to invest in? Is
Yes.
that something that I want to maybe even talk about, right? And so that's kind of the first thing. Then there's another tool that I really recommend everybody to sign up an account for, and it's called Glassnode.
Mm.
So Glassnode is basically an on-chain analytics tool in which you can track. It's mostly about Bitcoin. I think they're adding more stuff around Ethereum and other coins, but it shows you how is the hash rate developing, right? What are the miners doing? How are the addresses, like new addresses that are generated, right? Are we going up? Are we going down? The Bitcoin stock to flow model, which puts in relation the supply and the demand of Bitcoin and where the price might go, right? It's one of the most accurate price prediction models in Bitcoin. There's so many on-chain analytics that people don't even keep an eye on, right?
Right.
And I think this is very, very important. And that's actually one of the core benefits of blockchain is that we have this transparency, right? We
Yeah.
don't rely on a kind of like central node or central source to tell us what is happening. And I've talked about this in our previous session, which is this triple entry ledger methodology, right? Because that's what blockchain is. It's actually the next evolution in bookkeeping, right? And through the internet, through the Web3 in the future, which we're building right now, we can keep track of all that
Yeah.
from the comfort of our bed, actually, right? This is
Yeah.
amazing. So yeah,
That's
that's what I would recommend people to do.
yes.
Um, Go down the rabbit hole, conduct due diligence, talk to people, connect with the team, right? And not just blindly buy something that others shill on Twitter.
Yes.
Especially don't buy tops, right? Don't buy at the peak. So those are like the easiest things you can do to not get wrecked.
Perfect. Yeah, that's what I tell people. Non-emotional. Understand the crypto. Like my portfolio, every single coin except Dogecoin. I always throw it out there. Except my Dogecoin, I FOMO'd into Dogecoin. I FOMO'd in before it went up, but it was my business partner kept on. I'm like, all right, I'm buying some. Thank God I did. But that's the only one in there that's not fundamental. I mean, every other one I know projects. For example, the project I want to talk to you about is one of the ones you've been really excited about. Is I got into it because of you and Selman. I dove into Cosmos. So I want to talk about that project a little bit. There's been a lot of I haven't clearly been able to explain it yet, so I'd love to hear your aspect on it and what it's going to do in the marketplace. I'm very bullish on it, but I want to hear from your perspective. I know that's one of your favorite projects right now, and as we move forward week by week, I know we're going to talk about new projects coming out, and that's the exciting thing about this space is I've learned a lot from you and Selman in regards to learning and growing in regards to the market and understanding, because I was kind of pigeonholed in my 9 cryptos that I was invested in because I at my comfort level, I knew everything about these cryptos. And so my fear level was my bridge I had to cross was understanding new projects, new fundamentals. So share with me. So I know that's one of your favorite projects. So share with me about Cosmos. What is the benefits of it?
Right. So to me, Cosmos is kind of like an OG crypto project that started in I think 2014. And Jake Kwon, the founder, he developed something which is called, or which then evolved as the Tendermint algorithm. So that was kind of like the first core element of Cosmos. And back then it wasn't even called Cosmos. It has a different branding, right? It was pretty small. I guess it was very nerdy, the environment, right? A lot of developers and coders and programmers. And over the time, this evolved into something bigger, as in that in 2016 they then released a white paper, and back then, and I was not around back then, right? This is just information that I got now, and it really fascinates me because back then already, Jay and there were other people that then got early involved. I think Ethan Boolman was there, Zeki, and others. They recognized one, proof of work or the Bitcoin consensus algorithm is not scalable for the masses, and two, that you need to have a layer which connects all blockchains, right? Because if you're not building an underlying kind of like backbone for the Web3, what you will end up having is isolated silos, right? Independent blockchains that are not able to communicate with each other to extract information in a seamless, simple, and fast and reliable way, right? So imagine in 2016, we didn't even have many altcoins, right? This was just like pre retail mania in 2017. This was still very kind of like small, right? The circle. So it really fascinates me that they actually grasped that kind of like that problem back then. And what they did then is in 2017, they had a fundraiser early 2017. I think Ethereum was trading at $40. Bitcoin was, I don't know, 2, 3, 4,000, something like that. And they raised in Bitcoin and ETH, right? And what they did is very smart treasury management. They sold half of their 17.2 million US dollars in early 2018 for $300+ million, right?
Wow.
So it's a super well-funded company or project that has built over the years these several core elements. And the Tender algorithm, which I just said, is one of them. which by the way is up to date, is the most used consensus algorithm in the world. What they've also built is the Cosmos SDK, which is a developer framework that devs can just use to run applications on it, and so like sovereign blockchains, right? And they can just customize them. So it's kind of the counterpart to what Polkadot is building with Substrate.
Okay.
And so this is the second kind of like major core element of Cosmos. And then you have several others, and one of them, which is what just launched a few days ago, actually, and that's why I also said in 2016 they wrote the original white paper, because a few days ago they actually completed that white paper. So
Wow.
this is one of the few projects that actually delivered what they promised, right?
Wow.
And the completion of the white paper basically came up with the launch of IBC, what they call IBC. And IBC is what I just explained to you, is that idea that you can connect blockchains in a seamless way, right? And IBC stands for inter-blockchain communication. So it's a protocol that developers can just use to fork into their public chain. Torchain has announced that they're going to do it. Kava is going to do it. Already a lot of projects. Obviously, you have to reach a critical mass of crypto projects to implement that. Otherwise, it's just software that is out there. But if nobody's using it, it's worthless, right? So
Right.
we're right at the point where all these projects are going to implement that. We already have major projects that have announced it and are working on it now. Obviously, that all takes time. But yeah, that's why to me, actually today I switched a lot of my Polkadots into Cosmos, so it's one of my largest holding right now.
Nice.
But yeah, I'm really excited about the project. I had Jack Zempolin on my channel. He's one of the core devs and super smart, approachable, nice person, very dedicated to the project, extremely knowledgeable, and he's also in different things, right? He's not just like heads down on one thing.
Right.
He's very open and sees things from a bird's eye perspective as well. So yeah, I really love the community as well. The technology is fascinating, and yeah, there's just a lot of things that I find interesting. But like I said, I'm still kind of like learning about all this. I'm still kind of like trying to yeah, figure out how the technology functions in detail, right? How it's being implemented, how the entire ecosystem is evolving. So yeah, I think this is a very dynamic space, and yeah, it's where we're at right now.
That's awesome. And you can see that interview. His YouTube is running across the bottom here, Cryptocito. So one thing that's important, what he talked about, is you understand, I'm listening intently. And what you can tell is obviously he's deep in the projects, guys. And that's how you can understand, for example, okay, Elon Musk post about Dogecoin. But if you understand the real world fundamentals, the leadership team, and you're diving deep down behind the scenes, not the news, right? You can see if a project's starting to fail, right? For example, VeChain. I love VeChain. I'm a big fan of VeChain. One of the reasons why is the CEO. I've watched his interviews. I watch how much he travels. I watch how many people he's connected with, how he speaks about his project. The guy's traveled like 276 days in the year. I mean, that's the type of CEO you want working for the company, right? And so, like, for example, you look at CRO or Crow or whatever, you know, look at the market. I look deep into their marketing team and what they're doing. Everywhere you go on social media, boom, CRO cards popping up, things like that. And so that's why I like this perspective that we're giving people, because everybody's coming in. They're like, oh, I mean, I was sitting at the barber not a couple of weeks ago, and every single chair was talking about Dogecoin and Bitcoin. And I'm like, that's when I knew it was starting to come. I'm like, okay, here it comes. One of the things, can you share with me too, because I've been trying to explain to people. So I was in banking still during the 2017. So I was on the dark side. Now I'm on the light side. And so when and I'm just kidding, everything's good. But
You
when
joined the right team now. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, the right team. Yes. So what is the feeling like? You know, the euphoria feeling when people get really excited. You talked about greed, right? So there's this greed part where you get wrecked and you go right back down, right? So you get this. So what did you see in the marketplace? What was the feeling? You know what I'm saying? Like when we go to that bull run, where because what goes up is going to come back down, right? So on the other side of that euphoria, and that's where people get wrecked. They want to 10,000 more, 2% more. Like, what did that feeling feel like in the space, or what does that feel like or look like?
Great question. Yeah, and I think back then the kind of like the biggest red flags that I had is that just random people that I would never have even thought about would just come up to me and say like, oh, I'm gonna buy Bitcoin. It's the future. right? So that's kind of like the first red flag when random people that have nothing to do with technology, with finance, with investing, with entrepreneurship, when they come up to you and ask about investing into certain cryptocurrencies, then it's probably time to exit.
That's
So
good.
I think where we're at right now in comparison to 2017, obviously kind of like the genie is already out of the bottle since then, right? So a lot of people already have kind of like heard about it, and everybody has it on the radar, on the map, especially now with Tesla, right, buying Bitcoin. So I think if you purely go with that kind of like exit strategy, that's a bit too less now, because now everybody's already kind of
Yeah,
involved, right?
sure.
But there's always, that's why I said earlier, it's so important to conduct fundamental analysis on projects. And what you just said is super important, right? Like, look at a marketing team, look at their strategies, look at the product, use the product, become a user, right? And now we're in the time I said Cosmos is already completing their roadmap. You can actually use what they're building, right? You can use their products. And if there's no product, well, then maybe it's a scam, right? And if
Right.
you see all those scams compounding, maybe it means that we're in a bubble, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, I think that's why it's important to become a user, not just to become a pleb investor and throw money at random things that you don't understand. I think Warren Buffett said it also. Don't ever invest in something that you don't understand.
Yeah.
But yeah, obviously, the crypto space is super emotional, very fast moving. Sometimes you do take irrational decisions, and I catch myself even nowadays. Sometimes catch myself like, why did I buy that? Why did I do that? Why did
Yeah.
I say that? Right? So
Yeah.
I have to control myself as well sometimes. But yeah, so this is one thing, right? Like, observe the market, become a user. Don't just observe from the sidelines and pretend that none of this affects you and you just get rich by buying and doing other stuff. Become a user. Really try to dig deep into the fundamentals and the team. Another thing is also to really understand tokenomics. So
Okay.
this is something that most people also don't really understand, because what they do is they just go on CoinMarketCap and they look which is the cheapest coin, right?
Mm.
But it doesn't matter what the price is. If there's 100 trillion coins, right, the market capitalization of that coin can be 100 trillion, right? If it's
Right.
just
Right.
$1. So you have to really understand market evaluations, market capitalizations, how is the token design functioning, right? And again, who is behind it? Who created that? Can they dump everything on our heads, right? There's a lot of things that you have to understand and teach yourself, maybe. But yeah, I think it's really tough to predict right now when is the bubble bursting, because I think we will see another bubble this year,
Yeah.
and I think it can go pretty fast. Um, as in Bitcoin going to six digits and then from 150,000 to 250,000, and then at this point probably people are going to say, oh, it's never going down again, and probably that's like the time where you should think about,
Yeah.
waiting for the markets to cool off, because I think we will see another retail mania,
Yes.
maybe even bigger than we saw in 2017. Which is this time it's led by mainstream media, it's led by large institutions, right? They're going to place information in a way and in a timing that it fits their narrative as well, right? So there's going to be, I think, a lot of manipulation in the next month. Yeah, this is something to also always keep in mind, to actually counter trade the masses here. And whenever there's overwhelming euphoria, right, it's maybe time to take some chips off the table. And
Yep.
also, one last very important thing is always take profits, right?
Yes.
If your coin does a 10x, take out your initial and let it run. Even at 2, 3, 4x, right? It doesn't even have to be 10x. But take out your initial as quick as possible. That's probably the most important thing you can do, because then you can't get wrecked, right? All you
Yeah.
can do is you can lose your unrealized profits, but it doesn't really matter, because it's just uh, yeah, potential profit that you just didn't realize. So I think that's the most important thing you should do.
Yeah, that's powerful as you talked about, because so basically, like as he's talking about this, like so imagine it's going up, your project, you say your project's going up, you take some profits off the table, right? Maybe you're buried in debt, get your debt paid off, get yourself in a good position so that you can build we're about building generational wealth, like, taking your money and converting that money into something else, growing that money, right? You can buy in different, like I took some of my Bitcoin profits and I bought into a startup company. And so things like that, I'm always taking my money and flipping it into other areas, diversifying as well. I'm going to be on a gold and silver strategy as this thing continues to expound. So by the time this is over, I'm going to be fundamentally in all different areas and continue to grow. So we're going to continue these conversations every single Wednesday. So we'll be going live next time, guys. It'll be cool. So we'll get more interactive with it as well. Maybe we could field some questions in the future. We get quite a few people, about 1,000 people on our lives. It'd be cool to see just what's going on in the marketplace. But I just want to say I'm so grateful to have you on. I'm grateful to you and Selman and just the community out there. My main goal is just to help as many people as possible see that they have the power inside of them to take back the power, right? Take back their financial stability, take back, understanding we have everything we need already, but also all this is available to everybody. But I also want to make sure, just like you're talking about, is people be safe. I would hate for a bunch of people to come rushing into this space and then just get wrecked. And then they go right back into the old paradigm of I'm going to be broke. And this whole thing of, somebody's manipulating. It's like, let's get out of the paradigm of someone manipulating you. Take control of your life. Don't let somebody manipulate you, right? Learn the narrative, listen to the conversations, listen to what the billionaires say and do the complete opposite and you're going to be okay. Awesome. Well, I appreciate it. Any last words? So before we kick it over to you, make sure down below you'll see the ticker going across the bottom. It's Cryptocito. So please go check out his YouTube channel, Twitter as well. Subscribe to his YouTube channel. We'll have him on every single week. So anything you'd like to say to the community before we go?
Yeah, I mean, it's been amazing. Really excited to do this on a weekly basis here. Can't wait for it. I think there's so much demand right now, and eventually we're all still in the same boat, right? We're all still in the same boat trying to disrupt not just finance, but a lot of different industries. And yeah, I'm super excited to learn also from you, learning a lot from your channel, from your content, from your views, right? And yeah, it's great to see all that kind of coming together. Meeting new people. That's also something that is the best being in the crypto space is you meet so many great people from all around the world. And yeah, that's one key thing that I also love. So if you're watching this and you want to connect with me, just send me a message on Telegram or on Twitter or whatever you want. Always excited to also, figure out new stuff together or talk about crypto projects or whatnot. So yeah, it's been great, and I'll see you on next week.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you guys. All right, Warriors, as we always say, you give a man or woman a fish, they'll eat for a day. You give them a fishing pole, they'll eat for a lifetime. But if you teach them, like my boy William says, you teach them how to farm, they will feed a nation. This is all about bringing the money back to the people. What you do with the money is your choice, Warriors, but I plan on eradicating poverty in my life and the people around me. So love you guys. Appreciate you. And as we always say, Warriors, rise. Let's go.